Hey there, I'm Kristen Boyle. I am a yoga therapist and a somatic coach. And I teach you embodied mindfulness for embodied living. And to understand what that even means, first and foremost, I want to share with you a foundational principle that my work is based on that comes from yoga philosophy. So this is a concept that we learn through yoga, and it's called the Panchamay Kosha model. And I know that that's a mouthful, and you don't have to know the Sanskrit words. I will share them with you, but just so that you get a little bit of a concept of what we're working with. And so in my work, everything is connected, from the physical to the spiritual. And this is the model that we can use to dissect that. So the first layer, so kosha is layer, right? Maya is actually illusion. So we have this illusion that we have these different parts of our being, when in reality we are one whole being. And so accessing that takes a lot of practice and a lot of time. So the first layer of our being, if you would imagine an onion, that you have the outermost layer and then you peel back the layers to get to the center. The first layer is called the Anamaya Kosha. Ana means food body. And so we work with the physical or the food body first. And that is the easiest access. That is the gateway to the deeper layers. And so if you have practiced yoga, if you have gone to a yoga asana class in a studio, that is one of the reasons why that practice works, right? Because you are accessing the deeper layers through the physical body, through the physical shape, the physical practice. So the next layer is called the Pranamyakosha. And you may be familiar with the word prana. It's tossed around a lot. It's even a clothing line of yoga wear. Prana, very easily put, simply put, is life force or energy. And when we work with the energetic body, it's more subtle, right, than the gross body. But a lot of us have a language or a way of sensing or feeling energy, right? I feel the energy in the room is excited. I feel the energy in the room is depleted. I feel my own energy as being excited or depleted. One way to access this is through the breath. And to be quite honest, in my mind, what we're truly working with in all of this work is the autonomic nervous system. And we are working to regulate, to self-regulate our body, our system, to be in a state of social engagement. And so when we're working with the Pranamyakosha, we're working with the energy body, and we can access it through breathing. And our breath is also our first indicator of how we're doing in that layer of our being. All right, so moving ever more subtle, the next layer is called the Monomyacosha. And this is the layer of the mind, and I like to think of it as our emotional mind. I've heard it said before, and maybe you have too, that energy in motion is emotion, right? And to be quite honest, I feel my emotions as energy. I feel a shift in my being, my energy being, and my physical being when I feel sad. I feel a shift when I feel happy. And so that's what we're working with. So we've got the first three layers getting ever more subtle, and yet through the body, I can identify and feel my feelings. All right, so we're almost there. The next layer is called the Anamaya Kosha. And it is the layer of the mind of intellect. This is the thinking mind. And this is what so many of us struggle with, I believe, because the mind itself wants to know, wants to think, wants to judge, wants to reason, wants to figure out, wants to fix, even wants to criticize and judge. And so noticing that layer of the mind, what is the mind saying right now? And thoughts can be felt. right? So if I'm having a negative thought about myself, I can recognize that negative thought as a felt sense in my body. So that negative thought creates a feeling or an emotion that's felt in the energy. So if I'm critical and thinking and just like, oh, I don't like what's happening, my body, my physical body gets rigid and tight. My energy may feel aggravated, agitated, frustrated, depleted. Some of those words are emotions, actually. So then we dive a little further beyond the intellect, and this is more the spiritual being, and it's called Ananda. Ananda. Say that out loud for yourself. It is really like ah. Ananda means bliss. There's not much to say about bliss. When I reach bliss, it just is. So this is getting a little bit closer to that spiritual being, that spiritual self, and knowing that no matter what crisis is happening, no matter if my energy is depleted, my physical body is injured, my mental state is disrupted, I am Ananda. I am that constant state of bliss. And so then we get past that, and this is always getting a little bit closer to what we truly are, getting past that Ananda. Then I realize that I am Atma. Atma is what I like to call the self of the self. And I heard this from one of my teachers years ago, and it just landed. The self of the self. It is not Kristen, the ego mind. It is not the ego identification. I am a yoga therapist. I am a mother. I am a teacher. It is not the part of the mind that says, oh, I'm terrible at doing videos, right? It is beyond that. It is the true self, unchanging, no matter what's happening to any of the other layers. And this is where we get into the spiritual principle that Atma is Brahma. Brahma is the universal principle. So if you've ever heard your yoga teacher say yoga means union, yoking together, it sort of does. That's not quite the true intention of the word yoga, but on the bigger spiritual principle of it, I am the universe is me. Now that's a really big concept, and I always hesitate to bring those in because it takes a lot of study and a lot of diving deeper to truly understand what that means. But that Atma, that is yourself, the self of the self, that knows you better than anything and anyone else, and always has your best interest in mind. So that is the Panchamay Kosha model. Take a look at the image that I posted here. It will explain a little bit more to you, or at least give you a visual concept of what we're doing. But essentially, these layers of our being are all interconnected. There is no separation. And when I work with embodied mindfulness, we are noticing sensations in the body only to access what is more subtle and less on the surface. I hope that helps. I look forward to talking with you. I look forward to working with you. I do have a free workshop called Embodied Mindfulness once a month, third Thursday, and it's at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Check my website because that time and date may shift around a little bit, but you are welcome to sign up for it. It's free. It just is for information for you to take in to see if you are ready to dive into this practice. Thank you. Have a lovely day.